So when we get news on a new Assassin's Creed game, it's usually in the form of a visual trailer we can watch, where we hear from the developers, we see clips of gameplay, and we learn about the game. Today, it's a little bit different. Instead of dropping a brand new developer diary of Assassin's Creed Shadows, Ubisoft actually gave us information and gameplay clips in the form of an article on their website. So I thought I'd save you guys the hassle and time of reading it through yourself by reading it with you and giving my raw reaction as we read it. We'll read it, we'll react, and we'll see what we think. Before we get into all of that though, if you're new to this channel and want to stay up to date with everything Assassin's Creed, then feel free to press the subscribe button. Let's get on with it. Assassin's Creed Shadows stealth gameplay overview. They have a little intro where they talk about what they'll be showing, and it's pretty much just them saying we're going to be showing more of Naue because she is more to do with stealth. And they say some of these details also apply to Yasuke, so hopefully we'll see some actual Yasuke gameplay as well. A new stealth philosophy. Stealth gameplay in Shadows has been ambitiously overhauled in a few key areas, says Simon. First, the most obvious change for AC players will be the lack of a companion eagle allowing you to scout ahead and map out an entire location. In Shadows, players must rely on their main character's own senses and engage enemies in a more tactical movement-to-movement manner. Both Naue and Yasuke have access to the new Observe mechanic, which delivers a fast and easy way to toggle additional information on screen. Observe allows you to identify targets, tag and monitor enemies, and highlight lootable stashes, collectibles, and quest objectives. While on a sync point, it allows for close examination of nearby locations. So we can see Naue walking down the street, and she can see enemies, and there's a new UI over their heads, but it's pretty much what we're used to seeing. But she's observing these targets and tagging them herself, and then we can see the usual stuff that you can loot in that building. And it's pretty much what we do see with the Eagle, except now you just see it yourself as the character you are. Eagle Vision. Naue has access to the classic Assassin's Creed Eagle Vision, which allows her to highlight the position of enemies hidden behind walls and other objects and isolate any relevant sounds they make. Eagle Vision is a more dedicated stealth mechanic, encouraging Naue to slow down and take a moment to better visualize her enemies and relevant gameplay objects, including hiding spots. Naue is doing her usual Eagle Vision. It's what we see in pretty much every Assassin's Creed game. You see who's behind walls, you get to tag them, you can see them as you're sneaking through. The orange target is probably a target she has to reach, and that's it. So again, it's not really stuff we haven't seen. They're just kind of showing more of it in different environments. Similar environments to, again, what we've already seen though. Both Observe and Eagle Vision work independently, revealing different sets of information, but now we can combine both concurrently to reveal, observe, and tag enemies through walls. A very useful habit to have if you don't want to blunder into a room full of samurai waiting for you. For the first time in the Assassin's Creed series, hiding in the shadows will make you invisible to enemies. Okay, that's interesting to hear, and we are going to read on, but off the top of the bat here, that sounds to me that there won't be much of a heat of the moment for the player. You know, you're there, you're hidden, you don't have to really worry about who's going to see you because you know you're undetectable when you're in a shadow. I feel like if they got close enough to you that they would then detect you, that would be a little bit better. But again, we'll read on because maybe it clarifies these points. The ability to use shadows in this way invites you to carefully study your environment for hiding opportunities and routes, or create them yourself by destroying lanterns with a shuriken. Naue is a perfectly capable shinobi in broad daylight, says Simon, but the cover of darkness gives her a remarkable edge over her enemies, especially on higher difficulty settings. While Naue is fast, sprinting while you're attempting to be stealthy in a highly populated environment can be risky. The sound of footsteps will alert guards who will spot you almost instantaneously. In general, standing up increases your visibility, so this is where crouching comes into play. Naue can move quite slowly while in a crouch, with the sound of her footsteps considerably reduced. Crouching is also particularly effective indoors, minimizing the sound of nightingale floors. I have no idea what that means. Specifically designed floors that creak whenever someone steps on them. Okay, there you go. Very dark, it's kind of hard to see, but she's crouching on these nightingale floors. She's sneaking into an area. So basically it's saying if you sneak in this area, it's going to be harder to detect you. We're just literally seeing her sneaking around. Okay. Going prone. Naue and Yasuke are the first protagonists able to go prone in the series. Going prone reduces your visibility to enemies even further, whether on the ground, on rooftops, or underwater. For Naue, going prone comes with its own set of movements. By pressing the dodge button when in prone, you can roll to the side, front, or back. So I guess it's like or like a roly-poly or something, I don't know. A useful maneuver to quickly employ when a guard approaches. Keep an eye under buildings too, you might just find an opening you can crawl under, and here we are going to see that as well. Naue rolls to the right, she assassinates an enemy, And then does she roll back? Oh, I would have rolled back into the bushes. But there you go. So yeah, that's an, I guess, more intuitive way of going prone. You're very slow when you're prone, but if you want to quickly whip to an enemy, you've got that option. The Shinobi and Assassin arsenal. Naoe doesn't have to rely on her stealthy moves alone. She has 4 primary tools at her disposal to help ensure a quick kill or getaway. Smoke Bomb, a classic assassin tool that creates a cloud of smoke allowing you to escape or assassinate low rank enemies without being seen. Shinobi Bells, a perfect tool to distract enemies. By throwing a bell, you can lure guards away from their post or create an opportunity to sneak past them. I guess that's probably very similar to like the wind chimes you can throw in Ghost of Tsushima. Personally, I would just much prefer a whistle, be able to whistle yourself because it's a lot easier, but look, it's a gameplay aspect, I guess. Kunai are extremely sharp throwing knives that deal a lot of damage and can result in one-shot kills when aimed with a precision. Shuriken are sharp star-shaped throwing weapons that momentarily stun enemies and are even more useful when thrown into the environment to cause distractions. And again, we will see some gameplay. She's sneaking on a rooftop. She throws a smoke bomb, yep. She jumps down and she assassinates an enemy. Now, one thing I like to see here is that this enemy is level 28, as you can see. Now, one thing I was worried about was the fact that there wouldn't be insta-kills and you'd have to, you know, if you ran to assassinate this enemy, like in a game like Odyssey, the enemy would only lose like a chunk of his health, but he'd still stay alive, and then you'd have to get into a fight, and it would punish stealth, I would say. So here, it looks like it's quite good for that in that regard, where, yeah, if you probably fought this guy with a sword, he wouldn't go down straight away, but you're assassinating him from behind, so realistically, he is gonna get game ended. New ways to hide and kill. Naoe is our smallest assassin to date. That's a little bit of a weird thing to say, isn't it? I don't know. That's just like a weird quote, a weird phrase. Like, I get what they're trying to say, but just the way he says our smallest assassin is like, how tall is bro gonna be? Like 3'2". And she uses that to her advantage. She can squeeze through tiny wall craps. Fuck's sake, I said craps. And she can hide inside small storage spaces and boxes in order to get to the drop on her enemies. Double assassinations. Okay, now we're talking my language in the game. We know that players are always looking for efficiency in stealth runs, and this is why we are bringing back double assassinations. Yeah, at this point in history, this is sort of at the time where Ezio was alive and he was kicking about, so it makes sense that double hidden blades would be a thing in the Assassin Brotherhoods. Now, I don't know if now it's going to have a double hidden blade or it's going to be more like Unity, where you got to an enemy, you go like this, and then you go like this, but with the same wrist, you know what I mean? By equipping the Tanto as one of your main weapons and unlocking the dedicated skill, you can eliminate 2 enemies standing next to each other at once with your hidden blade, whether on the ground or from the air. So the Tanto, is that going to be, you know, just like a dagger that she'll use? So she'll hidden blade one guy, use the Tanto thing in the other guy? Or is it going to be more like, that is the name of her hidden blade and you upgrade it? I don't know, to be honest. But for some reason, they don't actually show us any gameplay here of the double assassination. Probably the one thing I personally wanted to see out of all of this, and they're not showing it, so cool. Grabbing enemies. While undetected, you can briefly grab and drag enemies in any direction to silently assassinate or take them down non-lethally. Now, this is actually a good thing because at the end of the day, Ubisoft are trying to make Assassin's Creed RPGs now, and RPG stands for role-playing, and as a player, you want to be able to role-play in the way that you want. So for the people out there that don't want to kill any enemies, this makes sense. This is a gameplay mechanic that you're gonna want to use. This grab mechanic removes some of the automation we've had in the series before. In Shadows, if you want to assassinate someone from a stalking bush, you have to manually grab them, pull them in, and only then can you dispatch them. Okay, so it sounds like if you grab an enemy just like out in the open, you can't take them down. You're gonna have to drag them somewhere to be able to like have the button prompts to take them out. Sneaking up, she grabs an enemy. I mean, you can knock them out. It says you can literally knock them out. So I don't even know what they're saying there, because as soon as she grabbed him, it said knock out or assassinate, which goes against what they were saying in the post, because in the post, they were saying you have to drag them somewhere else first. In Shadows, if you want to assassinate someone from a stalking bush, you have to manually grab them, pull them in, and only then can you dispatch them. Oh, okay, I know what it's saying. It's saying if you want to take them out in a bush, you can't call them over, you have to go out to get them. Then again though, didn't they say there was a way of like drawing enemies' attention so you could just throw one of those assassin tools and then they just come over? So I don't know, they're being a bit vague here because they're saying some information which kind of negates or goes back on other information they're saying. Enemy tactics. While you have plenty of ways to hide and eliminate your targets, enemies will respond in ways that will make your life more difficult. Servants, for example, are a new type of non-lethal enemy that will alert guards upon seeing you. Okay, so you sneak in somewhere, a servant sees you and she's like, starts screaming, running, you probably have to take her out, like knock her out or something. Or him. While they can't fight, their ability to call for reinforcements and raise alarms makes them just as threatening as enemies who can. Servants have their own patrol routes, so it's important to keep tabs on them. While using eagle vision, they will stand out by appearing in orange. Okay, so those are those orange things we saw in the gameplay before. When infiltrating heavily guarded positions such as castles and fortresses, different districts each exist in their own individual arenas. This means that should you get caught in one pocket, you can still recover, re-engage and keep your stealth run going without having an entire location bearing down on you. So that sounds to me that there's guards patrolling different sort of subsections of a stealth area, and if you escape one area, get into another, hide again, like you're not going to alert everybody in the building, you're just going to alert that small area, and eventually they'll probably call off the search. Do you know what I mean? I take that from that. Suspicion and investigation. If you get detected and are able to disappear again, enemies will search for you in pairs, one watcher and one seeker. That's giving me PTSD from Connor in AC3, you know, the beginning when he's a kid, you got to play hide and seek for like 10 minutes. Anyway, and will remain more suspicious going forward. That means that tactics such as whistling to lure them, so you can whistle to lure them. Doesn't that get rid of the whole need for that like wind chime throwing thing? I guess if you want to learn them to other areas, that makes sense. Okay, they've got whistling, that's good. That means that tactics such as whistling to lure them in will only increase their suspicion and thus their ability to spot you. This can have an impact on your ability to assassinate from a hiding spot, as these suspicious guards will be more likely to get in the way if you're not cautious enough. Unique enemy behaviors focus on the samurai. Certain enemy archetypes will present unique challenges to your arsenal. For example, samurai cannot be assassinated when caught with a smoke bomb, as seen in our clip above. Instead, they will quickly evade the smoky area. That's a bit more depth to gameplay, which is not a bad thing because it means you have to improvise, you have to adapt, and you have to overcome. This contrasts with the Ashigaru soldiers or the servants who can be assassinated in smoke. Samurai are also prone to deny assassinations, and they can even slice bushes when searching for you, which removes the option to hide. Okay, so they've said here that they can deny assassinations. Now, for me, I never liked that in Assassin's Creed. It makes more sense to me that, yeah, you get into a fight, of course it's going to be hard and challenging, but they should reward stealth with an instant assassination, in my opinion. Again, this is a role-playing game, so you should be able to play and role-play how you want to. Maybe we'll read that they actually give you the opportunity to turn on instant assassinations like they did in Valhalla. I really hope they will say that, but we'll see. Assassination denied. Through Shadow's progression system, it's important you focus on developing your stealth skills and abilities. Enemies will have levels based on their archetype and religion. Actually, it says region. So if you neglect Assassin Hidden Blade upgrades, you may find that stronger enemies can completely deny your assassination attempts. Please give me assassination, instant kill opportunities setting. Please. This is me crossing my fingers for some reason. I can't do it. It's really hard for me. When approaching a target, a white assassination prompt indicates an instant kill. Yellow means you will deal some damage, and red signals that the enemy will be completely denied of your attempt. When it comes to assassinations, progress and context work in hand. Says Simon. Invest in perks that increase your assassination damage and test things around. A strong enemy may survive a frontal assassination, but they may die from a sneaky air assassination. Naue is sneaking once again up onto an enemy, assassinate, and he loses a bit of health, but he jumps out the way. And here, this is a stronger enemy, probably like a camp leader, and he throws her off the side so she can't assassinate. Again, that just throws you into a fight, and it makes sense in the way that, okay, so now you have to think more stealthily, like what assassin tool shall I use instead, and stuff like that. So part of that is good. I just think there should be the choice. Here we can see notes as an option in the menu allows you to do instant kills on all enemies. Okay, we've got the choice. I'm happy with that. I think that's good. And we round off with stealth in Yasuke. While Yasuke is very much built for direct close quarters combat, he can still be stealthy when equipped with his bow. Using this ranged weapon, he can engage enemies from a distance without ever needing to draw your katana. So Yasuke is also sneaking, so you can sneak as Yasuke. and he's slow-mo taking out his enemies, which I'm guessing is probably going to be a skill you can unlock. Probably like in Assassin's Creed Origins, where you could jump down, you could aim your bow in slow-mo, that sort of thing. It's probably going to be a similar skill to unlock. If players are careful and deliberate, Yasuke can also slip behind foes and deliver a devastating assassination with his melee weapons, blending stealth with a more direct combat approach. We'll have more on Yasuke's skills in our next combat deep dive. Okay, so that was the deep dive. We saw all the gameplay, and I'll have it running over screen again now while I talk about my thoughts on everything. So I think it's good that they're showing this stuff in the format that they are. Firstly, for me as a content creator, it's way easier for me to just like grab these gameplay clips and read it and then just do my own thing rather than cut out all the developers talking and stuff like that. But for the most of you guys that are just the players, it very much just lays it out on the table that this is what this does, this is what this does, and look, here's a bit of gameplay to back it up. Now that's good. One thing I do scrutinize with this post though, is that a lot of the things they are saying, they don't really show. Again, just scrolling back up, we can see, yeah, lots of clips, which is good, but all of this information has absolutely no gameplay clips to back it up. And again, what I was saying earlier, if you're going to tell me about a gameplay mechanic and how it works and how amazing it is, then, you know, again, back it up with gameplay, which is, again, what they're mostly doing here. But there are just certain parts where they go way more in depth than other parts, but then they don't show gameplay to go along with it, and again, to back it up. Seeing this post is written by the company that is making the game, of course they're going to glaze it up. They're going to say how amazing it is, even if the players might end up finding that it's pretty bad mechanic. It's not as good as they make it sound to be. So if they're not showing gameplay to go with it, I can't really take anything from that stuff. Here's a quick example of something Ubisoft glazed up to be really amazing and it was really bad, was the social stealth in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They said, look, it's a return to form, it's bringing back the classic Assassin's Creed gameplay that you love. It didn't look too bad in the gameplay overviews and especially what they wrote about it in forum posts and things like that. We play the game ourselves. Social stealth is just so badly optimized in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And don't get me started on stealth. But talking about the stealth that they do have in the game, it looks to be quite intuitive, you know, going prone, rolling to the left, rolling to the right, assassinating enemies, dragging them into the bushes, and enemies being able to potentially detect you by the noise you make with your footsteps, and certain areas being creakier and noisier if you sneak there than other areas. Again, it adds a layer of depth and ingenuity to the level design, and I think that will definitely boast a lot of replayability as well. So overall, long-time viewers of mine will know that I have a lot of overall criticism for Shadows, and I probably will have more when the game comes out, just due to the way the game is going to potentially be. But just purely in this Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay, article post and clips, it looks good, it looks decent. Again, I just feel like they should have shown a bit more gameplay to back up what they're saying, because I know Ubisoft like to glaze their shit up as much as possible, and a lot of the time it does fall flat. I'm gonna say promising, but you haven't swayed me yet. What do you guys think about this? Do you like what you see? Do you agree with me or do you disagree? Get the conversation going in the comments. We will build that AC community. If you're new to this channel and want to stay up to date with everything Assassin's Creed, press the like button and subscribe to let me know you want to see more just like this. If you're looking for a new podcast and you like Assassin's Creed, then check out The Podyssey. Insanely good name, I know. It's a podcast where we talk everything Assassin's Creed. It's me, the Exile, along with Willis Makes Movies, a fellow AC content creator. I love you guys, mate. The father of understanding guide us. I will see you soon. Goodbye.